Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching Ba-Boom, the Political Vigilante. You see the PV in the corner, you know you are in the right place. Thank you for watching our show, everybody. We've been demonetized for over 2 years. You can support our show in all these different ways. If you scroll below, Venmo, Rockfin, Patreon, subscribe and share. I was trying to say subscribe and share at the same time, so I was going share. Doesn't make sense. Sharing is a great way to feed the algorithm. Also, I have a new comedy special out, Manifest It, which is at the All Things Comedy YouTube channel. If you literally just type in Graham Elwood Manifest It, you'll see the full special. Please check it out. It's very political. I call out the whole system, and I think you'll like it. And one of the problems that we have in terms of the fact that our channel got demonetized by YouTube 2 years ago is net neutrality. And unfortunately, we took another hit on it. So I want to bring back on the show my friend and very knowledgeable on the subject of net neutrality, has his own show called Get Your News On with Ron. Welcome back to the show, Ron Placone. Ron, how are you?
Hello, Graham. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, we took a big hit this week. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It happened Tuesday. And I can just jump in. So first of all, a quick, real nuts and bolts, cliff notes. What is net neutrality? Net neutrality is the law that keeps the internet free and open. It does not, it prohibits internet service providers, big cable companies, from throttling different websites. So they can't make CNN load faster than this show, or they can't, stop traffic to certain websites. They can't do that. They just have to have the internet go like flowing water. And it also does not allow them to put people into fast lanes and slow lanes and stuff like that. It just keeps the internet free and open. We've had net neutrality as long as we've had the internet. It was an assumed rule until the cable companies challenged it in court in 2014. In 2015, we got it as a solidified law in the books, and they've repealed it in 2017. But since then, we've gotten net neutrality laws passed at the state level, California being one of those states. So we've not seen a post-net neutrality internet yet, but if we did, it could be a disaster. I mean, it could completely just gut the internet as we know it. Shows like this wouldn't be able to happen anymore. Certain websites wouldn't load. Certain governments could call for the censorship of the internet. We just saw that in Texas. Texas is a state that does not have net neutrality protection. So a bunch of Republicans in Texas are trying to make ISPs in Texas, internet service providers, censor certain abortion websites. So if you're a Comcast customer in Texas or AT&T, whoever the company is, you might not be able to go to certain abortion websites now. That's the kind of stuff that can happen in a post-net neutrality world. I know that net neutrality is not the world's sexiest topic. And I always tell people, I'm like, look, if it's ever really sexy, it'll be because it's too late, because we freaking lost it. So the big hit we took this week was Gigi Sohn, who was a pro-net neutrality appointed to the FCC, withdrew her nomination. They've been drawing this process out for 2 years. Typically, it takes a couple weeks to give people a point of reference. It's taken 2 years because of a big right-wing smear campaign, because of Joe Biden's indifference, and because of corporate Democrats holding out as well. Joe Manchin delivered the nail in the coffin. A bunch of all the Republicans were holding out. Some Democrats were too. Joe Manchin was waffling on it. Then he said he's not supporting her. What I speculate is she knew she wasn't going to get through, so she withdrew. This was a huge loss, especially since we've been fighting tooth and nail for this for 2 years, something that typically takes a couple weeks. All of Trump's picks, couple weeks. Obama's picks, couple weeks. Biden, this one pick, which, by the way, he had to promise a pro-net neutrality appointee. It's not like he did this because he's a big fan. He had to promise in the Bernie Biden task force. That's the only reason we got Gigi Sohn. So this was a huge loss. I was eating ice cream in the middle of the afternoon on Tuesday because this just really freaking sucked. This was a huge loss.
And I mean, this is just right up the centrist Democrats' alley of, we tried, But then they don't fight. Biden didn't put his foot down. He didn't say, you better make this appointment happen. He didn't do any behind the scenes horse trading, which is what a good president does. I mean, when people make, and I hear, obviously liberals make excuses for the Democrats. They just blame everything on the Republicans. It's like, well, Joe Manchin's a Democrat for starters, but also, I'm a fan of history. I'm a student of history. And, LBJ had to make so many deals to get the Civil Rights Act passed. I mean, he had to, and when people then say, oh, well, what power does he? What power does the president really have? Well, then why did you vote for him? Why were you dancing in the street for him? Why did you tell me I had to vote for Biden? If I didn't, I'm letting Trump win. Why does it matter then? If the president has no power, and won't flex his muscle to get something done, then what is the point? This is what isn't so maddening to me. In this cult-like alcoholic obsession with liberals defending the Democrats' constant inadequacy. And they would say, yeah, but the Republicans, of course, the Republicans, this is the thing that drives me so nuts. When you talked about what happened in Texas, the Republicans are doing exactly what the Republicans have said they would do for 50 years. We are going to try to stop Roe v. Wade any way we can. So that got kicked out. So now they have the power to thwart, safe abortion websites in Texas. And they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. And then Joe Biden is doing what Democrats always end up doing. They always say, I'm going to fight for net neutrality. I'm going to fight for Roe v. Wade. And then they don't do anything and blame the Republicans, which ultimately I think is their plan. I think this is by design because now they can scream. I mean, we saw this when Roe v. Wade got overturned. Nancy Pelosi's emails, it's the most important. Let me guess. 2024 is going to be the most important election ever. And if you don't vote for the Democrats, Roe v. Wade is sunk. And enough liberals will buy that. And
even though Roe v. Wade went away when they had everything, like Roe v. Wade went away when the Democrats had the White House, and it's so, it's comically absurd. And in this case, I mean, this is one of those things, and I think especially on the left, we kind of lose sight of this. It's real important to go after the attainable wins. Because when you get those attainable wins, it's going to make the bigger wins a little more within your scope. So it's like everyone wants to think about stuff like the White House and stuff like these huge, like lofty things, which are important, of course. But it's but you got to also focus on your city councils and your school boards and different types of policy, because when you get those wins that are within your grasp, it's going to make getting those bigger wins just a little more feasible. So it's we're neglecting the wins that are within our grasp. And then these wins that should be within our grasp, we're doing everything we're supposed to do. And we're still just getting stepped on, which is what happened here. This should have been this should have been like that. This should have been, she was approved in a couple weeks. And by the way, another thing where this lands on Biden too, he took his time nominating her. He didn't, it's not like in a couple weeks he nominated her and they dragged this out. He didn't nominate her for about a year. We had to scream at the top of our lungs to get him to nominate her. So yeah, Biden, I would argue it's very plausible that Biden didn't even want to see her get confirmed. Because this is a guy, he started his campaign with a bunch of Comcast executives. He doesn't give a hoot about net neutrality. I would bet, honestly, he probably doesn't fully understand it, if I'm being real. I doubt he really understands what net neutrality is. And so, he doesn't care. He did this. And then there was a 16-month smear campaign. Nobody defended her. Not one person in the political realm defended her, called out how absurd it was. Her hearings was just junk political theater where Ted Cruz and JD Vance just grandstanded about nothing. Nobody pushed back except for her. It was so sad. I live streamed the whole hearing and I literally just wanted to throw my computer across the room. It was so freaking frustrating. And that was the third. There were two others that were just as irritating that happened. And then it ended like this. So this was a huge one. And to kind of tell people where we're at going forward, we are going to regroup, figure out what to do. You can still go to battleforthenet.com, sign that petition, because it does usher the demand that we demand a pro-net neutrality appointee. We still need a pro-net neutrality appointee. So we're going to demand that from Joe Biden. And, you know, we're just going to kind of lick our wounds and move forward. But yeah, right now it's just, this is tough week for the internet, folks. Tough week for the internet. So enjoy content that's out there while you still can.
Well, that's the sad reality is most people don't understand what it is, which is by design, because the mainstream media is deliberately not explaining it to people.
Yeah.
And the Democrats don't want it to pass. They don't want to protect net neutrality because, like you say, they get all this money from Comcast and everybody, just like the Republicans do. And so most people won't even know what this is until it's taken away. It's that simple. It'll be like, hey, how come I can't this? Or how come this keeps showing up? It's like, oh, remember we were fighting for this for years. And like, of course, the squad, nowhere to be found, fighting for Gigi Sohn, like nowhere, nobody does anything. It's just, you know,
and it's so much more frustrating there too. Like not even just the squad, but it's like, you know, the Democratic Party, they always weaponize identity politics when it's convenient for them. They're always, you know, really quick to say like, oh, you don't like Pete Buttigieg, it's because you're a homophobe. You don't like Hillary Clinton, you're a sexist. You don't like Kamala Harris, you're a racist. Meanwhile, here is a gay woman, the most qualified FCC appointee in years, more qualified than anyone Obama appointed, more qualified than anyone Trump appointed. Trump's people had no qualifications whatsoever. She was like the most wasn't a cable lobbyist. She's a lawyer in the public interest, has been on digital rights cases her entire freaking career, has been on this beat her entire freaking career, 30 plus years, beyond qualified. They had all these ridiculous homophobic smears about her. And nobody said anything about that.
I know.
Nobody in the political world. I mean, plenty of activists did. Every digital rights organization was behind her. But, you know, nobody.
This should have been, Ron, you bring up such a great point. How the Democratic Party conveniently selects when to use identity politics. And the one time when they actually needed it, when they should have said, hey, this woman is being, homophobic smears are being attacked against this very qualified woman, you know, digital rights activist, attorney, the most qualified person for the job that'll actually protect all of our internet. The Democratic Party, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. If you say, I don't want to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's a warmonger, I'm a sexist. But I want to vote for Gigi Sohn because the main reason I would vote for her is because her policies are in line with mine. And oh, great, she's a woman that's gay. Awesome. Diversity, inclusion, I'm all for it. So when the Republicans were smearing her with this stuff, nobody came to her aid. Nobody protected her at all. I mean, it's literally like, not as bad, but like similarly like Tara Reid. It was like, oh, the Me Too movement. We're going to, you know, believe all women unless they accuse Joe Biden, then maybe no, we're not going to do that. And it's just, this is the selective outrage of the Democratic Party and some of its neoliberal blue MAGA cult following. Their selective outrage is just infuriating because imagine if they would have gotten behind Gigi and went after these homophobic, you know, slurs, there would have been a national outcry. And then, oh, by the way, net neutrality would have been talked about as a result.
Exactly. And that's what they could have, if more high profile Democrats would have spoken out on her behalf. I mean, even though, and I understand like this is on the Senate, you know, like, so it's like the House, you know, procedurally can't do anything. But even if like some rank and profile Democrat would have just said something as just somebody in politics, where it's like, it's so gross seeing this happen. This woman is so qualified. These a lot of these smears are very homophobic in nature. This is freaking gross, which anybody could have done that, you know, like anybody could have done that, even if you're not in the Senate. That would have helped. That would have freaking helped. If Joe Biden would have used his bully pulpit once, it would have made a world of difference. He didn't do it one time. And it's just, I mean, seeing it happen. And by the way, it's not like, and you know, not to get like too far into these weeds, but it's not like Gigi Sohn on a political level is some crazy radical Marxist or anything like that. Like I'm way to the left of Gigi Sohn politically. it doesn't matter. Like it's irrelevant because all that matters is how she would work as an FCC commissioner. But the only reason I mentioned it is because, in these smears, they were trying to make it out like she was some like, oh man, she's just so like beyond the pale. And it's like, not at all. She's like a center left person. But even this person who is beyond qualified is not in any realm radical, quote unquote, whatever that means. Like I could see if like someone like me was appointed to the FCC and they found like, they probably would find enough stuff online where it's like, oh yeah, this dude said he's against private property. This dude said, and I can see how in the contemporary United States, they'd get me out of there real quick. Like I get that. But Gigi Sohn, I mean, she's been a lawyer for 30 years. It's like she's totally, like and she served in this capacity before. She's been on the FCC before. So it's like, it's just absurd. Like they're making it out like she's some like radical. It's like she's not. I mean, even if she was, it wouldn't matter. But just for the record, she's freaking not.
Right.
So the fact that nobody came to her defense, I mean, it's just so. It's been a week on this topic. It's been a freaking week. Like I said, ice cream in the afternoon. I have to be really sad to do that. But that's what it took.
So I'm here with Ron Placone, everybody, host of Get Your News On with Ron. And we were just discussing how Gigi Sohn did not get appointed, and it's a big blow for net neutrality. So now, if you've had this couple of days of afternoon ice cream and clearly the Democratic Party did what the Democratic Party does, which didn't fight for this woman to be the head of the FCC because the Democratic Party is bought and paid for by big tech and Comcast. So they don't, they're not going to fight for anything real. Where do we go? Like, I hate asking this. I always hate asking this question after another crushing defeat from the progressive left just gets kicked in the throat again. And it's like, so where do we go from here? We just lost by 100 points. But yeah, what do we do? How do we?
Well, we got to keep the pressure up to make Biden just keep his promise of a pro-net neutrality FCC appointee. Like, we have to do that because, like, that will be an FCC appointee that will go through an entire cycle. If he doesn't appoint anybody and he has an entire, White House with a not fully staffed FCC, which, by the way, would be historic and a historic blunder and just a historic level of incompetency, which I think really goes to speak to how corrupt the government is. I could totally see Biden doing this because he doesn't care that much. Meanwhile, it's like, don't you at least like want to appear to be a competent president? Doesn't that at least matter? Don't you at least want to say, I had a functioning agency? Like, you weren't able to pull off a fully functional FCC as president. You're not in any way like at least embarrassed by that. Man, that donor money must really speak, pal. But so, we got to keep the pressure on to make him keep that promise. Because if they wait out the clock and then say in 2024 a Republican wins or whatever, they'll just staff that seat right away with an anti-net neutrality candidate. I mean, keep in mind, like, this isn't about Biden. This is about, we made Biden promise to do something he didn't really want to do. And if we don't hold his feet to the fire and make him do this, well, the next person doesn't have that promise. They didn't make that promise. So, I can guarantee you President Ron DeSantis or President Donald Trump will not appoint a pro-net neutrality person. They just won't. Biden did because we made him promise that he was going to. So it's a rough place to be. I mean, but we got to keep the pressure on to demand a fully functional FCC, which if they, I'm never going to say never because I really thought they weren't going to be able to stifle Gigi Sohn any further, but they did. So, I mean, I would not rule anything out as a possibility. It would be a historic level of incompetency if they somehow did not have a fully functional FCC for the entirety of a presidency. But at this point, it's not impossible. So, easiest place to go still, battleforthenet.com, sign that petition, put the pressure on to demand a pro net neutrality FCC. I mean, even though like Gigi Sohn is not in the running anymore, which is beyond tragic, if we still keep the pressure up, they're going to see that people are demanding that this gets done. And they're either going to, maybe something will change and somehow they'll come to Gigi's defense. I doubt it. And plus she withdrew. So I think that's unlikely. But at the very least, we'll get a pro net neutrality appointee.
Okay. And say the website again that everybody can go to.
Battleforthenet.com. That's battleforthenet.com.
Battleforthenet.com. Everybody go there and voice your opinion. So we can at least try to get some pro net neutrality person in charge of the FCC, because like Ron said, if the, and I even hate saying this, but it is true, is like the Republicans won't even try it all. They'll just say absolutely no.
And the appointee will get approved within a couple of weeks. Like it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. And the Democrats won't fight
an
anti-net neutrality appointee, and they'll just let it all happen. The Democrats love rubber stamping. They rubber stamped all of Trump's right-wing judicial nominees when he was in office. Like they just...
Yeah, they let him have his way with the Supreme Court. I mean, it's the list goes on and on. Like there's just no way that they are this incompetent. There's just no way. Like I think at the end of the day, it's just winning's not priority number one. Like winning is just not like, is winning on the list? Well, yeah, because it's like, they want a job, but I mean, upholding the donors is the first priority. And if you can win in the meantime, cool. If not, well, as long as you did the first priority, that's what matters most. Because if you make the donors happy, you'll always get another shot. Right. So,
you'll always get another shot. Well, Ron, I know you've got some tour dates coming up. Where can people see you do your comedy routines?
My comedy routines. Yeah, I got some Los Angeles shows first here because I'm working on my Edinburgh hours. So those shows are April 14th and May 12th. That's at the Glendale Room in Los Angeles, one of my favorite new venues in town. And then I'll be in the Midwest in June 16th, Madison, Wisconsin, June 17th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. June 23rd, Detroit. Hold the date, Detroit. Tickets aren't available yet, but June 23rd, I will be in Detroit. And June 29th, Chicago. Tickets for Chicago, Madison, and Minneapolis are available now. And if you use the promo code Lucy at checkout, you get discounted tickets. I'm doing an early bird special, so don't wait. Grab your tickets now. And Edinburgh, Scotland. I'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year, August 16th through 27th at the Little Cellar at the venue 32 below. If you're going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, my shows are at 4 p.m. daily. So come on out to Edinburgh. If you're in Edinburgh, see you at the Fringe. If you've always wanted to go to the Fringe, come at the second half this August. I'll be there. We'll hang out. It'll be my first time too.
Right.
And RonPlacone.com for all that.
RonPlacone.com. Folks, I will be in Hawaii the end of April. April 27th in Maui, April 28th in Kona on the Big Island, April 29th on Oahu, and May 11th in Phoenix, May 12th in Tucson. Go to GrahamElwood.com for those tour dates.
Oh, and Graham, can I mention my pilot real quick? I dropped a pilot recently.
Oh yeah, the Loner. Yes, tell us all about that, Ron.
So I first of all, I'll mention Loner first, but then I'll also mention the movie. So Loner is a pilot that I wrote a while ago, and it follows a guy, an IT guy, through the quarantine. It takes place in 2020. And it's based on our world, even though it's a different world, because instead of having Zoom, they have Vroom. But basically, he's going through quarantine as an IT professional, and he's realizing all of his missed opportunities in life, and he's basically trying to fix himself in the backdrop of being isolated during a pandemic. So the only person actually on screen is me, and everyone else is kind of voiceover because he's on Vroom, which is their version of Zoom. And he has to deal with the knowledge that he could be a millionaire right now because the inventor of Vroom, aka Zoom, was his ex-girlfriend. And she asked him to invest in it, and he didn't. And had he done that, he'd be a millionaire. So he has to go through quarantine, realizing he could be a millionaire. He's all alone, and reflect on all the mistakes that he's made in his life. And so, yeah, watch episode 1 now. And I hope to make the rest of the series very, very soon. We're trying to like find some sponsors and stuff like that so we can finish the story, because I know how it ends. And also, I'm working on my movie Left at Wall. I'm working on it. The trailer's out. If you haven't seen it yet, Graham does an amazing job at his part. So I'm really excited for the world to see that. I'll have more on that in the coming months, but I am working on that. Oh, and Lucy is on the screen. Yeah, someone mentions that Lucy's in the pilot. She is. Lucy plays herself. She's the only character that plays herself, but she is she's the main character's cat, and her name is Lucy. So,
and I play a right-wing YouTuber.
Yes, in my movie, Graham plays a right-wing YouTuber, and it's really funny.
It's so great. I just literally put like an American flag background behind me and just started ranting at the thing. So
yeah, we've done some pre-production work on that already, folks. It turned out really, really great. So I'm excited for that part. So yes, in my upcoming movie, Graham plays a right-wing radio show host / YouTube host.
It's so great. Oh, it's my finest work. It's all those years of taking Meisner. It's my finest work.
It was great, dude. It was great. Like we got a lot of great takes, and in one of them, like I just Graham, I was like, dude, just let it rip, man. Just riff on it, and we got some fun lines there. So yeah, I'm excited for the world to see all the above. You can watch Loner right now. The movie will be out. I hope before the end of the year. The movie is completely finished. And then is like, I mean, we're going to do the festival circuit with that. So, you know, like that'll be a longer climb, but Loner is out now.
Right on. Thank you, Ron Placone, for coming on our show and talking us about all your projects. Check them out, everybody. Go to ronplacone.com and see him live. Very, very funny man. And we will speak to you soon, Ron. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood. And go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.